What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? We are here for the Love and Marriage Huntsville season 10, episode 8 review. Now, this is the mid-season break. And let me be honest with you guys. Normally, I would be annoyed by this. Normally, I would be like, this is stupid. Why are we doing a mid-season break? Dumb. But if I'm being honest, thank you, Carlos King. Thank you, Carlos King, for giving us a mid-season break. And let me tell you why I need a mid-season break. Because in the next 4 weeks, I got about 10 shows. I got about 10 shows. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, my love. So I'm not even mad that for the next couple of weeks, I don't have to worry about this show. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. Because we have Salt Lake City, we have Real Housewives of Potomac, we have the Braxtons, Reasonable Doubt, Force, the Bell Collective. Baby, I have so many other shows going on that I'm okay with this break. But let me get into this episode. Not can't just say they can stay gone. Well, we know how we feel about the show, but it is what it is. So we start this episode off with I said Marcus. Lord, I'm just making up names. Martell and Chris, what's Chris' last name? Damn it, why I can't remember his name? Nail husband. Let me say this. I said this on last week's episode. Is the hair color lighter? It's probably the same color. It always starts off this light, and then over weeks it dulls out. The color dulls out. Fletcher, thank you. The color dulls out until I get it redone. So it's probably not. I mean, it might look lighter, but I don't feel like it's lighter. It always starts off this light blonde, and then it dulls out over the weeks. But hell, it might be. I don't know. I just let my hairdresser. She know what to do. I just let her do it. We got mad at each other yesterday. Well, we didn't get mad at each other, child. But I didn't do a good job of combing my hair out yesterday. Let me just leave it at that. It was a situation. But anyway, let's get to it. Last week I said this about Nell, and this week I'm gonna have to say the same thing about Chris. Nell and Chris Fletcher, you are not who we thought you were. You are not who y'all were presented to us to be. And I get it on reality shows. Y'all create these personas for people and y'all make people feel like it's going to be A, B, and C when it's really D, E, F or whatever. But y'all really had us feeling like Nell and Chris were like damn near pastors, right? I mean, y'all never said that. But that's how I walked away that first time we met them, that they were like damn near pastors. And they were so spiritual, and they had this great situation, and they were helping Melody and Martell. This conversation between Martell and Chris, Martell is measuring, first of all, Martell, this house been on the market for 5 years. You don't know the measurements of that house yet. You don't know the measurements of that house to know what kind of furniture you need to put in that house, sir. That house been on the market for 10 years. Second of all, stop calling it a rental property. An investment property. It's not an investment property if you're going to move your concubine in. You just bought her a house. Thank you, Danielle. Let's just call it what it is. You bought her a house. Or you built her a house or whatever. Like, I think that he had every intention of trying to sell the house, but you can't sell it. For whatever reason, you've had it on the market, off the market, on the market, off the market, and you can't sell it. So now you just bought the girl a house. Okay, that's just what it is. And I'm sure be on Instagram bragging about Martell bought me a house, whatever. I don't even watch her, so she might have already did it. I don't know. Then this is the reason why I said, Chris Fletcher, you are a horrible person. I'm going to say it one more time for the people in the back. Chris Fletcher, you are a horrible person. And I'm going to tell you why that you are a horrible person. Because when Martell was talking to you, and of course they were talking about Marsau and this, and this, and this, and that, you had the nerve. You had the nerve. Martell said to you, have you ever known me to be a bad person? And they were talking about Martell doing the video about Marsau. He was like, man, he pushed me to it. I was just responding. And he had the nerve to turn to the left, right, wherever, and say to Chris Fletcher, have you ever known me to be a bad person? And Chris Fletcher looked that man dead in his face and said, no. I mean, other than this Marsau thing, no. What? What do you mean? You've never known Martell to be a bad person outside of Marsau. I think what he did to Marsau is at the bottom of the list of shit he done did to people. Can we start with Melody? Forget about, listen, we just started at the top. Sir, you cheated on your wife multiple times. Period. Full stop. We don't even have to go no further. That's a bad person because you didn't just have you didn't make a bad decision. You didn't have a drunken night and fell into some ussy. You didn't say, oh my gosh, we were going through a bad time and I sought the comfort of another woman. No, you, sir, you were so bad that you snuck out the house during fucking COVID to sleep with your wife. You risked getting your whole family sick with a virus that at that time was killing people on a daily, hundreds of people on a daily basis. You snuck out of the house to go be with this woman during COVID. You threatened to release a tape of you and your wife in an intimate moment because you got mad. We're not even going to talk about the other things that Melody has accused him of that we don't necessarily have proof one way or the other, because I'm not going to get into that. But we know this what we know. These are the things that we know he's done to his wife. Sir, for you looked that man dead in his face and said, no. Yeah, I'm done with that. But then Martell is whining about Marsau. Let me tell y'all something. This episode right here reminded me of why I have always loved Marsau. Even in the midst of Marsau doing and saying things I didn't always agree with or like, Marsau has always been my favorite. Well, not always. 99% of the time, Marsau was my favorite. I don't know what it is about Marsau that has Martell in a bunch, but Martell really wants to be Marsau's friend again. I don't know what Marsau's friendship does for Martell, but Martell really wants to be Marsau's friend again. Now, do I think it's about Marsau? I really don't. I don't think it's about Marsau. And I don't think it's about Marsau being a great friend to him. I think it is Martell's narcissism that he can't wrap his brain around the fact that somebody wouldn't want to be his friend. I really think that's what it boils down to. Martell cannot accept the thought that somebody doesn't want to be his friend. Because it's not about Marsau. But anyway, he said that he agreed that, he's going to talk to Marsau because Maurice really wants them to. And he said, yeah. And this is the shit that you do, Marsau. I mean, this is the shit that you do, Martell. And this is the reason why people can't mess with you. Why did you feel it necessary for you to let us know? Because you weren't talking to Chris. You were talking to us because you wanted us to know. You wanted to let us know that behind Marsau's back, Maurice agrees with you. Which I don't believe. I don't believe that Maurice is like, yeah, Marsau is a terrible person. Yeah, Marsau. Yeah, Maurice, Martell, you the man. That I don't believe. But you put it out there because you want to sow those seeds of doubt between the brothers, and you want us, the audience, to feel that way. See what I'm saying? That's the shit you do, Martell. There was no reason for you to put that out there. First of all, again, I just don't believe it's true. But even if it were true, what was the purpose in you putting it out there that behind the scenes, Maurice is calling you saying, yeah, man, I know Martell is wrong. I mean, I know my brother's wrong, but can you just do this, that for me? Can you just do it for me? Lying ass. Martell needs someone to film with. I'm thinking that has a lot to do with it. Now that you know what, Bravine, that might have something to do with it too. It may just come down to, because you're right. Right now, Martell really don't have a whole lot of people to film with. Who Destiny, who halfway shows up. Destiny is just dialing it in. She showed. I mean, I guess she's a friend of the show because she showed what she feel like a child anyway. And then you got Destiny, and you have the Fletchers basically. So then the next scene we see Ken and we see Will. Can I be honest and tell y'all I'm not vested in talking about Ken, Will, Trish, or any of them because they back together. So this whole we broke up, but we still living in the same house. Oh, but we broke up, but now we got to divide assets. Oh, we broke up and my son heard us arguing and he put the keys down because Ken was like, give me back what I bought. Let me explain something. Ken, you didn't want to hear it when the brothers tried to explain it to you, when Maurice tried to explain it to you, Marsau, I guess all the guys really tried to tell you. At the end of the day, sir, y'all can play house all y'all want. Y'all can play married all y'all want. But at the end of the day, y'all are not married. You are her boyfriend and she is married to a whole nother man. So you sitting here making permanent situations with a situation that ain't necessarily permanent, that's on you. And I don't think, see, I have a problem with people who dangle what they do for me. If you are paying the bills, if you have provided this lifestyle for Trish that she wouldn't be able to afford without your money, don't throw it in. I hate that. Thank you, Don. Don't do that. Don't every time you get mad at me or the first time you get mad at me, now you want to throw it in my face. I don't like when people do that. So all of that, I mean, I already called some realtors because, basically you trying to say she can't afford that house without you. And then for the son to come downstairs and drop his car keys on the table of the car you bought him, that means that y'all were arguing loud enough for him to hear it and for him to feel some kind of way about it. And if I was a son, I wouldn't drive that car not near another day. I would go back to taking the bus or walking. I'd be Ubering. I wish the fuck you would. And that's what Trish need to do. That's what the mama need to do. Because I would never, thank you everybody. Thank y'all, I appreciate it. I would never give you the satisfaction of being able to dangle that over my head ever again. Baby, I would have put them keys on that table and I would never pick them keys up again. And I mean that. I don't care what kind of car it was. I would ask him, give me some time to clean that car out. Whatever you have in there that belong to you, get your shit out the trunk, go on and clean out your shit. And I would leave that car right there in the driveway. You could do with it what you want. Because see, that's my problem with people. If you did it for me because you really wanted me to have it, it would have never been a conversation, especially since it sounded to me like that argument was over something stupid. You said that she walked through the camera and you said it seemed like she had an attitude and she didn't speak to nobody. I don't know how that turned into all of this. Well, let me get my shit and let me move out. Clearly, y'all have more going on. Yeah, she trimmed it. Thank you. Yeah, I had a new growth. She trimmed it. Yeah. It's just curl tight. Y'all know my hairdresser curls my hair tight. It's just curl tight. By the end of this week, it'll fall. See, it's just curl tight. See how it's curled? See, if I pull it out, yeah, she just curls my hair tight. It just helps it last longer. See, when it starts falling, y'all gonna be like, oh, okay. And she did trim it too, though. She did trim it. Trisha, as a mother, should have talked to her son about his feelings about the situation. Yeah. Cajun. But Will, listen, everybody keeps trying to tell you. You don't want to hear what they're trying to say because they're not saying what you want to hear. So you're not trying to hear what they're saying to you. But at the end of the day, I believe you need to take a step back until Trish handles her business. At the end of the day, listen. If Trish wanted to be divorced, she would be divorced. Full stop. She doesn't need you to pressure her. She doesn't need you to give her a ring. She doesn't need her family, her friends. She doesn't need anybody else. If Trisha wants to be divorced or wanted to be divorced, she would be divorced. Now, I'm not saying she wants Marquise, whatever that boy name is. I don't think she still wants him. But there's a reason why she has not moved forward with this divorce. It's not because she can't afford to get divorced. It's not because she don't know what a boy is. It's not because of the kids. I don't know what her reasons are. Now that's something she gonna have to process. But she doesn't want a divorce. And so at this point, what your friends have been trying to tell you and all the people on the show, now it's on you. Stop making it seem like it's her decision. It's not her decision. She's made her decision. She's not ready to get a divorce. Now it's on you to make a decision on how you gonna move. She done told you what she's gonna do. She ain't getting a divorce. Now it's on you to make a decision what you gonna do. But I don't like this whole, I mean, this my house. I mean, I mean, you know, I already called a realtor and I already did this and this. Y'all see, and I've had friends do this, but I will never understand people making those types of permanent. Can I explain to y'all at this point in my life, I'm not co-signing a car with nobody that I'm not legally bound to. I'm not co-signing nothing to nobody that I am not legally bound to. Period. I love my sister, but not my sister. I love my nieces and nephews, but not them. I would rather, if my niece called me and needed something from me, and y'all know I love my niece dearly, I would rather say, let me see if I can get a loan. And I will give you the money outright. And you just pay me my loan back before I would co-sign something. Do y'all understand what I'm telling y'all? I damn sure ain't co-signing a whole house, putting my name on a mortgage, a 15-year mortgage with somebody that is married to a whole nother person. See, I thought they were just renting that house because, you know, people be renting and faking like they. But when he said, I already called the realtor, so y'all really bought a house together? I just can't. So anyway, that's Ken, and we'll get to Trisha's side of it later on. You know, she might not be listening, child, but she'll catch it later. She'd have dropped down. Once I say her name, she'd have dropped down, child. But she might come in here later on. You know how she do. And like I said, don't get me wrong. Like y'all know how I feel about my family. I thought Marquis said they moved into Trisha's house. I don't know. Oh, you know what? They can do. You right, S&G. They do. They right. You right. They rent homes through realtors too. You right. You right. So maybe it is a rental situation. But anyway. But whatever they do, they're gonna have to break the lease because they ain't been in it. They ain't been in there. But well, I don't know. You know, I don't know the schedule of when these things be filming, child. Lovely Blueprint says Ken is too good of a man to be BSing with Trish's foolishness. How do we know he's a good man? We don't know nothing about Ken. I think Ken has a savior complex. Ken likes to play Captain Saberho, and then he wants to sit back and be rewarded. He wants you to kiss his ass for what he did for you that you didn't ask him to do. Because remember, Will said that, Ken, you do this all the time. You always do this. You date these women and with these children and you get close to the kids. He said you do that. So I feel like this is what Ken does. Yeah, we don't know anything about Ken. We don't know anything about Ken. I think Ken, like I said, I think Ken likes to play the look at what I did game. Look at what I did for you. Look at how I took care of her. They told us that Trish had a whole job at the aerospace, that she was a whole engineer. I think Trish made decent money. I ain't saying Trish was making $400,000-$500,000, but I think Trish made decent money. Let's not forget that Ken is a whole felon, convicted. Ken got some shit with him too. Ken was transporting party favors in his truck and got caught. Let's not act like Ken don't have no shit with him. Ken brings shit to the table too. Okay? All right. Yeah, remember Ken got, yeah. Don, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe I saw that. Don, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Ken? Yeah, he's on probation. Yeah, which means he's convicted. If you you ain't on probation if you ain't get convicted of something. Either he pled guilty or he was found guilty, but you don't get on probation. You don't get on probation because you didn't do nothing wrong. So yeah, and I believe that was the charge. Okay, Don said I'm right. Yeah. So like we're not gonna sit here and act like Ken don't bring his own shit to the table. He absolutely does. Right. And so Ken, I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole because Lord, somebody be telling me, you don't know what you're talking about. But if you are a felon, there might be place. Maybe you need Trish as much as Trish needs you, as far as finding places to live, getting loans, starting. They talking about starting a gym. You might need Trish as much as Trish needs you, sir. Anyway, moving right along. So the next scene is probably one of my favorite scenes in years on this show. This scene with Marsau and his daughter was the cutest thing that I have seen on this show in a long time. I loved this scene for so many reasons. Number one, I loved it because you can see just how much that little girl has Marsau wrapped around her pinky finger. Okay, so they went out for a mani-pedi, and that little girl walked in the store. Walked in that salon saying she was gonna put pink. She told her daddy, "You got a choice between regular pink or glittery pink, but you getting pink on your toes." And he was like, "No, we're not gonna do that." He was like, "I'm allergic to pink." She was like, "You gonna get the pink today." And I loved how she was not playing, because when it was over, when they got done with this scene and the lady was getting ready to I guess she was gonna put the clear gel on Marsau's toes, and she was like, "No, he'll take number 562. He wants the glittery pink." And the way Marsau looked at her, I bet you Marsau walked out that damn salon with pink on his toes. How much you want to bet? Now, I ain't saying how long they stayed on his toes, but how much y'all want to bet that Marsau walked out of that damn salon with them pink on his toes? It was so cute. But I love this scene because, first of all, she clearly has they banter together, right? So she clearly knows how to play with him. She knows how to get his attention. She knows how to get him to feel some kind of way. And she plays with that. Oh, mommy's my favorite. Mommy's the best. Mommy. But I also think some of the things that she said, I'm going to be honest, I don't even think some of the things that she said hurt him. And here's why. Because what she said, the reason why she loves mommy is exactly what he wanted. She said, well, because mommy is here. Because even though mommy works, she makes time for us. Because mommy picks us up from school. Because mommy's home when we get home from school. Because mommy is here. That's what he wanted. Go back to season 1 when they were arguing about Tish going back to work. And he was like, we agreed that you were going to stay home with the kids. So the reason why she loves her mom more than, well, not more than him, but you know what I'm saying, is what he wanted. So I don't think he felt no kind of way, if I'm being honest. But let me tell you what I loved about this. 2 things that he did in this scene that I loved so much. The first thing was, he said, let's play a game called Never Have I Ever. Rather than sit there and say, so have you ever kissed a boy? Have you ever let a boy hug you? How do you feel about your boyfriend? He was like, let's play a game called Never Have I Ever. He said, take a drink if you've ever hugged your significant other. You know what I mean? That was a way to have the conversation. Y'all have to be creative when y'all talking to y'all kids. Because I'm going to tell you now, just asking a kid a question outright, that's not going to happen. So he was like, okay, take a drink if you've ever kissed your significant other. And it was so cute. It was just so cute. I loved it. And then they talked about it, right? And then she talked about, he talked about, hey, your mom dated, your mom dated a whole nother dude till she came to college. She had a whole dude she dated from 14 to high school. And then she said, Mom told me that you were her first boyfriend. And he was like, oops. Like, oh damn, my bad. Okay. But I loved that moment. I loved that moment. The second thing he did that I absolutely loved was when he said, listen, I don't want you to ever think that you're in a situation where you can't call me. He said, no matter what you have, no matter what's going on, if you call me, I'm coming. He said, I ain't gonna promise that I won't be mad. And I'm not going to promise that I'm not going to be, that I'm not going to be upset about it. He said, but I need you to understand that I'm coming and I'm going to come and get you. And there's nothing that you could ever do to make me not love you. I said, you better, Marsau, you better let it be known. You better let it be known. I loved that. And I love that he was like, look, I ain't going to tell you I ain't going to be mad now. But I'm going to tell you that there ain't nothing you going to do that we can't get past. See, this is the shit I'm talking about. And I know that Marsau gets a lot of flack on the things that he says. And we know that he didn't know that his oldest son was allergic to peanuts. Child, that shit is still funny to me. That shit is still funny to me that he didn't know that baby was allergic to peanuts. But I just thought that was a great scene. I just thought that was a great, great scene. And I was just here for it. I was so here for it. Not unless she starts dating Martell. Child, anyway. Which daughter was what? No, that was MJ. If you go back to season 1, when Tisha and Martell, when Tisha left Marsau at home with the kids, and she know, which daughter was it? The oldest one out of the 2 girls. I think it was Malia. But don't quote me because I don't know the 2 girls apart. So don't quote me. But it's the oldest of the 2 girls. Whichever one is the oldest of the 2 girls. Okay, somebody said Macy. Okay, so it was Macy. So I thought that was a great scene. The best scene, the best family. And the other thing too is it didn't feel forced. Like it was a pure scene. It just didn't feel forced. And I loved it. And I love the fact that Martell and Letitia, I keep saying Martell, Marsau and Letitia, whatever the child name is, Trish, Tisha, all these Tishas. I love the fact that they waited until their kids were old enough to say they wanted to be filmed. Like we're getting scenes with their kids now because they're old enough to say, yes, I want to be on camera. Yes, I want to be filmed. And I love the fact that they waited for that. I love that. Child, then we have Tisha, Destiny, and Tisha's little nosy ass friend. This how you know that 2 people are in a relationship that they probably don't need to be in. When her friends are telling her she wrong and his friends are telling him he wrong, they probably don't need to be together. Because Destiny and the other girl, I forget the child's name now, but Destiny and the other lady basically were telling Trisha, you do too much. You have the anger problem. You are not a great communicator. And you need to go and work that out. Like she told us about what happened about the argument. And it did sound like a silly argument, right? Now, how it evolved into what it evolved to lets me know that y'all are having other issues. And that's just what's under the surface, right? That's just the issue that's under the surface, that they have other issues, right? Sharon, that's her name. Yes, Sharon. Thank you, Kiwan. Thank you. So Trish basically tells her side of the argument that Ken, and I kind of already talked about it. But she said they sleeping, that neither one of them moved. They sleeping in the same house, but they ain't together. They taking a break. You can't take a break when you're in the same house with somebody. Now I know somebody gonna come in my comments or come in the chat and say, "Really, B? Me and my husband did that because we couldn't afford to live in different places. So he lived in the basement and I lived upstairs." Or really, B? He moved into the guest bedroom or I moved into the guest bedroom. I ain't gonna change what I said. You can't take a break from somebody you gotta see every day. Y'all might not be having sex. Y'all might not even be communicating well. But y'all are still in each other's space. You can't take a break from somebody you gotta see every day. Sorry, not sorry. Now, that's my opinion. That's how I feel. Now, I understand that people do what they have to do because of finances and other things. I understand that. But that is not taking a break. That is separated. Now, that's my opinion. Y'all ain't got to agree with my opinion, but that's my opinion. Drew, y'all talking about Drew and Rao, child. They not, and you see, and then you get videos popping up on Instagram of them feeding each other and cooking together. You see what I'm talking about? They not taking no break. That's why and the reason why I don't have a whole lot of energy for this is because they're back together. They posted on social media last week together, in the gym working out together. The two of them were arguing were going back and forth on Instagram, arguing with Marquez and stuff. They still together. So I don't have a lot of energy for this when I know they back together. Like, Danielle said, I would love to have sex. Now, don't get me wrong, that it's a mini break, you know what I mean? But it ain't the kind of break when you say we taking a break. It ain't that kind of break. Yeah, both, and that's why I'm saying too, Ellis, is when both sets of friends are telling, when the advice from all sides is maybe y'all don't need to be together, and none of them are saying that, but they're all saying that. Because again, I respect the fact that none of their friends are saying y'all need to break up, but that's what they're telling them without saying it. Does that make sense? Storyline, child, okay, because they are still filming. So, shall we get to this last scene with Martell and Marsau? And again, I am reminded why I love Marsau. I'm reminded why Marsau is my favorite on this show. Okay, because the way Marsau handled Martell it's hilarious to me. Because see, what Martell wanted Marsau to say, "You right, I did some things. I could have done some things differently. Maybe I went too far. Maybe, maybe Tish did too much, and I apologize." And then Martell would have felt okay with apologizing. But because Martell is a narcissist, and I know we overuse that word, but in Martell's case, I don't think we're misusing it. But because Martell is a narcissist, he cannot apologize first. He cannot allow himself to say, I was wrong. And I'm going to tell you when Martell lost the argument. Martell lost the argument when Martell was like, you lied on me, and I was tired of you lying on me. When Marsau said, what did I lie about? And Martell could not give him one example. Now, I'm not saying that Marsau ain't lied, because I don't know their personal business. I don't know how long I don't know. But when Marsau asked Martell point blank, what did I lie about? And Martell couldn't say one. He said, but I don't want to get into all of that. See, you've lost now, because your whole argument is the whole justification for your actions is based off the fact that you said that Marsau lied on you. And the fact that he gave you the opportunity, and this isn't the first time that Marsau has done this, let's be clear, but the fact that he gave you the opportunity to lay it out, give me the list. Tell me what I did. Tell me what the lie was. And the fact that you can't do it, or you chose not to do it, you lost. You lost the argument. You have lost the high ground. And from that point forward, Marsau just kept backing you down the mountain, till finally all you could say to that man was, can we just end it today and move on? I mean, can we just end it today and move on? Because Marsau said, tell me what I lied about. Real easy. And you couldn't. Then Marsau said to Martell, I know how we can end this. Stop talking about me. That's real easy. You and I love how he called Ariane. See, I called her by her name. He called her the fiance. I love how he did that, right? Just you and your fiance, just stop talking about me. Well, if you and Trisha stop talking about me, he said, okay. Like, okay then. See, Marsau was not giving Martell what he wanted in that moment. Martell wanted an argument. Martell wanted a back and forth. And Marsau was like, I don't have that for you. Because number one, everything I did to you was retaliatory. He said, I made one comment and you have turned it into all of this. Number two, I've apologized for saying it. Number three, everything I have ever done to you or said about you was in retaliation to anything that you have done or said about me. So clearly, if you just stop talking about me, it's real easy. I'll stop talking about you. And then, and I love because did y'all catch when Martell said we got something new? It's new now. It's a new thing coming. That was Martell's way of basically, this must be after, they must have filmed this after Melody announced she wasn't coming back to the show. Because that was Martell's way of saying basically Melody's not gonna be here anymore. This is gonna be it's like a new show. Like we gotta figure out how we're gonna film around the fact that Mel's not here anymore, right? And I feel like that's what he was saying to Marsau in that moment. Like, we got, it's new now. It's a new thing here now. Basically, because Mel ain't gonna be there. So how we gonna adjust to Mel not being here? That didn't change nothing Marsau had to say. Baby, when Martell hung his head and all he could say was, well, I just need to end this now. Can we just end it today and move on? Maurice was like, Marsau was like, sure, stop talking about me. And then he said, and he told, listen, and I love the fact that he told Martell to his face. He did not, y'all can't nobody say he said it in his confessionals or he said it behind his back. He said it to his face. He said, but I know that this isn't going to last. I don't trust that this is the end. But okay, we can take it and we can say we're going to move over. I don't think they're forbidden to say Melody's name. I mean, I know Melody said that she didn't want her name or likeness used, but depending on whatever contract she used, I don't think they can do that. Now, again, it depends on the contract she signed. She might have signed the contract and it says that when she's no longer with the show, they can no longer use her likeness. But I don't believe that Carlos would have given that much power, especially going back to the beginning. Melody wasn't anybody. Like Carlos was the one with the production company, the one doing the show. So I don't think that Melody can do that, but I don't know. Like I said, it depends on what's in the contract. Now, they better not lie on Melody. They better not misrepresent anything. Now, I will say that. I think Melody is on go if they ever lie or if they ever misrepresent something that happened. But I don't think that they can stop them from bringing Melody up. I think they're choosing not to. I mean, but that's sort of par for the course in most shows when people leave the show, unless a storyline comes up that they were a part of, they don't usually bring people's name up that are no longer on the show unless they have to. You know what I mean? So when you think about housewives and stuff, unless they have to bring a housewife up or unless they're part of a storyline, they don't bring up other people. Now, Martell might be forbidden. Martell might not be able to say Melody's name. Now, that's a different conversation. Martell, may not be allowed to say it. But I don't know if as a show. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that now Carlos better be careful and not lie on her. Now, like I said, now Martell might not be able to say it. He may not be able to speak on her. But that's separate from the show. No, her likeness is not used. For example, she is edited from fast video footage shown as aired in the last episode. Which one, Kevin? What part did they take her? And again, will they take her out? Sure. Are they forbidden? That's two different things. Choosing to do it versus her being them having to legally do it. That's two different things. So yeah, like I said, Martell might not be able to say Melody's name, and to be honest, because Melody was such a focal point of this show, production may not want her name to come up because they may want to establish this show outside of Melody. Like Melody was a major, and she had a strong fan base and people liked her. So they may ask them not to bring Mel's name up, you know what I mean, as a way to try to separate the show from here. The scene with Stormy talking to the girl said, "Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, Mel. Yeah, we didn't see Mel. Yeah, you're right." The scene of her throwing a glass had her blurred out. Oh, okay. So maybe she did. Maybe she did send some paperwork to Rain Entertainment. I don't know. Kingdom Rain. I don't know. I will say this. It'll be interesting. It would be interesting if that were the case. And here's the reason why. And this is no disrespect to Melody. This is just in general. Carlos is a child of Bravo, meaning he worked for Bravo before he started his own thing. He was a executive producer on Bravo for many years. So he understands the tricks and the trade. I would find it interesting that Carlos would not create his contracts in a way that will protect him from that situation. And again, we're not talking about just Melody now. I'm just saying in general. That's like, for example, let's talk about Akeisha from Bell Collective, who left, who's no longer with the show. Does she now have the power to tell Carlos, and I no longer want you to use my name, and I no longer want you to use my likeness? And I know that Mel was an executive producer, and I know that Mel was part of the reason why the show was created. I got that, y'all. I got it. But at the end of the day, Carlos was still in the power position when that show was created. It was still his production company. And I would find it interesting that he would create a contract that had that loophole in it. Because think about the Housewives. They don't have that sort of power. Nene can't stop Bravo from showing her on any, if they want to do flashback scenes back to season 1 and show Nene, they can do it. Teresa Giudice, Kyle Richards, and all of these women are the staples of their show when the show started, and all of that. So I find it interesting that Carlos would put himself in a position legally that left that loophole open. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that Mel doesn't have that. I'm saying I find it interesting that Carlos wouldn't cover his ass when he's a product of Bravo. And Bravo is, their contracts are very, very specific. From Mel's recent crash outs, I think she might have struck a deal with Carlos in order that she not sue him. Well, then she broke the deal then. I shouldn't say she broke the deal because I don't know what the deal was. I do think that Mel and Carlos have a gentleman's agreement or gentlewoman's agreement. I do think that. Yeah, I do think that maybe Carlos agreed to not do it. Um, but I don't know if Mel necessarily has the legal standing. And I'm not saying she doesn't, y'all. I would just find it interesting. And if Mel did, I bet you don't nobody else get him on that get him that way again. I think when Nene was on the legal dispute with NBC Bravo, they weren't showing her. It was noticeable because she was edited out of the scene a few years back. Well, that's because they were in the middle of litigation. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Maybe at that time he wasn't in that position. He absolutely was in that position at that time. Why wouldn't he be? It was his production company. He was the one agreeing to do the show. Melody wasn't in that position. You know, we're not going to put Melody on the same level that Melody is today, y'all. When they were trying to do that show, Melody went to them. Melody paid for, what was it, the $10,000 consultation fee. Melody it paid for the sizzle reel. Melody did all of that. She went to him. No, he absolutely was in the power position. Absolutely he was. Because I'm sure there were 10 other projects sitting on his desk that people wanted him to produce. If they didn't go along with it, the fact that Carlos changed the name and the whole premise of the show lets you know who had the power position. I also think a lot of stuff concerning Mel was from the network, and the network advised Carlos of some things. That's true. I forgot what the original name was, but it wasn't Love and Marriage Huntsville because it wasn't supposed to be about relationships. It was supposed to be about business. I think it was probably called the Comeback Group or something like that. I don't remember the original name, but Carlos changed the name of the show. It wasn't Love and Marriage Huntsville. I notice how people keep referring to Mel as an executive producer. She has never been on EP. She and Martell both had producer credits, but they were never EPs. Right, and there is a difference. Thank you, Lons Blair. And there is a difference. Yeah. Yep. Building Huntsville. Yeah, it wasn't Love and Marriage Huntsville. I don't remember the name of it, but it wasn't Love and Marriage Huntsville. Right. It was supposed to be about the Comeback Group. No Holds Barred. Yeah, it was something, but Carlos changed the name, and he also told them he wanted to that the business would be like the B-roll of the show, but the main thing he wanted to focus was the relationships part of it. Anyway, y'all. So listen, let me get ready to get out of here. Y'all know it's Sunday, it's football season, so I'm about to watch me some football. My Commanders don't play today, so I may before 4 o'clock. I may come back and do Miami. Not sure because there's a 4 o'clock game. I definitely want to watch, but I'm gonna probably watch some football, and I have some work to do. Some work for my my 9 to 5. I got to do. I will probably be back at some point today. Not sure if it's gonna be. It'll probably be over here though, you guys. I'm not sure. No Holds Barred. Okay, that was the name of it. Thank you, J12. We're either gonna do Miami or at some point, y'all. Now let me ask y'all a question. I am gonna do Salt Lake City, so you know that debuts this week. But I have to go back and finish watching last season because I never finished it, and y'all kept telling me I needed to finish it, so I'm gonna finish last season. Do y'all want to talk about it, or y'all like no? Really, be just watch it for your own knowledge, and then be here. I think it's either Tuesday or Wednesday it debuts. I'm not promising I'll be able to do that because I think I have like 6 episodes I need to watch, and I was gonna watch them yesterday, but baby, them college football games were so good I couldn't turn them off, y'all. Them games were so good yesterday I could not turn them off. Okay, so okay, we're gonna so I'm gonna see if I can get the rest of the season. I'm gonna see if I can um yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get the rest of the season. Okay, a lot of y'all are saying yes. So I'm not promising. If I have time, then we'll do it, and maybe I'll just do it when I go live to do the review. Sorry. Abby just sent me something silly. That's what I might do, See Watkins. I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to watch it. And then when I do the review for the first episode, we'll just talk about it. Okay? Okay. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all later on. Again, not sure. It'll probably be Miami, but I don't want to lock into that. But it'll probably be Miami. All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace. Yes, whether you like it or not. Sorry. Thank you so much, Don. Heart and Hustle Houston will be tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. The whether you like it or not panel will be over here. Boom. Thank you, DB. I think that's what I'm gonna do, y'all. I think I'm gonna just wait and do it and do that. Yeah. Wait, so you mentioned earlier Love and Marriage Huntsville is now at mid-season, so no more than later. Huh? I don't know what you mean. Thank you, Tracy. What you mean, Kevin? No more than later. What does that mean? But it is. Love and Marriage Huntsville is not coming back till November the 15th. It's on mid-season, mid. Y'all know how they do that mid-season shit. I'm trying to wait to see what Kevin's saying, y'all, so I can answer his question. Kevin might have left. He might have left, thought I was ending the live. Oh, no more episodes. Yeah, no more episodes till November the 15th. Yeah, for Love and Marriage Huntsville. Yeah, they're on the mid-season. According to Carlos, that's not true. Well, that's what the hell he better call OWN, because that's what OWN said. OWN said it. So he better go talk to OWN, because Heart and Hustle, next week, Heart and Hustle is coming on at 8 o'clock. So Carlos, they said Heart and Hustle is going to be at a new time at 8 o'clock, and Love and Marriage Huntsville is on a break until November the 15th. So he better go on and call. He better call them. They've been saying that all weekend. They do have episode. Okay, well, listen. If it's an episode next week, we'll be here to talk about it, child. I don't know what OWN and Carlos King, they got a misunderstanding, child. All right. I'll talk to y'all later.